How do you think we end up in the jobs and careers we end up in? How do we get there?
According to this report that I've been participating into lately, Drawing the Future, which is a survey led by the charity Education Employers in the UK, an international survey, according to them, we end up basically choosing career paths pretty early in primary, apparently. And those career paths seems to be gendered already. Girls and boys choose what it looks like this is for me and this is not for me. And that research, like other researches that
So already they're identifying that at a young age that, say, a fireman is a male's role.
It's a male, exactly.
And a hairdresser is maybe a lady's role. And actually my child looks at a book and points to the bear that's in the bank saying, oh, that's daddy's job. And to the bear that's cleaning the windows, oh, that's mummy's job. So I'm not sure about the window cleaner being a woman's job, but anyway.
Exactly.
So this hasn't changed by the sounds of it. How are children today, they're still observing how they ever did. How do you think we can change that?
I'm very, very interested in what the education employers have done in the UK since 2009 now. They have been bringing volunteer from the world of work into schools, in primaries, into secondaries, into universities, in colleges, and show to the children the myriad of professions that they can have, and then open up their aspirations, but also helping them to make a link between what they study and why they study it. And who's best to show to a child what numbers mean than someone who's paid to use those numbers.
So your idea is to really import this similar idea to Switzerland, to really ensure that children from a young age have a so-called role model that can give them a window into that career, into that job. Is it enough to just present to children, or do they really need to have the hands-on experience, do you think, in the workplace?
If we talk about the children, it's probably difficult to imagine that they can have a hands-on experience inside the companies. If we talk about primaries, if we talk about secondary and colleges, absolutely, yes, I believe so. And I'm actually planning to do, I have programs that I have built that Mod-Elle will present to companies and universities in Switzerland, where precisely we envisage to have a hands-on experience inside the companies. But at the primary, it's not, the approach is a little bit different.
And who do you think, especially with the primary age, who is the greatest influence? Is it a family member, a friend, a TV program? What is it?
It's actually the same report, Drawing the Future, who showed very clearly that the main influencers are the parents and the close family. And after that, it's the TV and media. And after that, I was thinking, well, I have to watch what my kids watch TV every day. But yes, apparently the parents and the close relatives, like the grandparents or uncles and aunts, are the biggest influencers.
And when we think about ourselves, I hope I'm not alone here, Andrea, but if I watch a great series on a law firm, for example, I was like, oh, no, I should have been a lawyer, and it looks so glamorous and so fun. But of course, it's not like that day to day, which I guess is something that you're aiming to do, to point out to younger people that that's not always how it is day to day.
I think that's the reason behind the approach is also, yes, to show mostly the larger, the big number of potential career options for children. But it's true that it's actually has changed a little bit. So the TV and movies that we used to look at now, children look more like on the YouTube and YouTubers a lot. In this report that I mentioned earlier, the children showed, the research showed that children of today, they're extremely influenced by YouTubers. They all want to be, a big number in the survey wanted to become YouTubers. So
why is that, do you think? Is that because YouTube is more of a real form? It's more of a reality insight?
I think, honestly, I believe that they want to be what they can see. And this is exactly the idea which is at the basis of the approach of bringing volunteers in schools, because they see this. This is what they do all day. I have adolescent kids, teenagers, and they are constantly watching on YouTube who does what, so this is what they see. They see
now,
their
the
parents.
interesting thing is what you think you want to be in life inevitably isn't what you end up doing,
No.
would you say? And is it not the strengths that we have, you know, we play to those strengths and we end up doing a role that's suitable to those strengths? Would you say that's the norm or not?
I believe that we missed as well role models, I guess, at our time, and some may argue that we don't know what the world of work will look like tomorrow, and it's true, it's changing. I mean, in Davos, World Economic Forum had launched a lot of initiatives about reskilling. So we talked in Davos a lot about precisely how the world of work will look tomorrow. So we not all of us know how. But what is important, I believe, and this is it's the core of what my action will be, it is very important to show to the children that there are a lot of options out there for them, and to help them not to be coerced into a certain path, like you should be doing that, girls, you should be doing STEM careers. No, it's not about coercing them, but apparently, children rule out options for them very early, unconsciously. So it is important to keep them open.
What sort of thing would they rule out? Can you give us an example?
There was this extraordinary video that's been done again for education and employers, where they show that 66 children were asked to draw a firefighter, a surgeon, and a pilot, and 61 of them drew a male. Only 5 drew a woman. So
and they weren't all boys participating. They were much more. Yeah, true, you're right. But there were, I don't know exactly how many were in there, but 61 out of the whole numbers. There were 66 were in the end. They're answered. Sorry, they were much more present. But 61 and only drew a male and 5 drew a female. And which show to the researchers that basically children have identified certain jobs, careers with being male, and therefore girls would not go there. It sounds to me that you're saying equality really starts in the classroom, and no wonder we have problems today. We can't get equality. Now tell me, something the report highlighted, I've had a sneak peek, is that there's a mismatch between what the children aspire to do, what they would like to do when they leave school, and what they actually can do, what's available to them. So how is that shifting the economy?
I believe that this is something that has to be taken into consideration. Employer education is absolutely vital in the future, because employers can't wait anymore that talents arrive at their door at the time they are interested in. So they will have to make the effort and get involved as early as primary with their future employers, because this mismatch, what does it mean? It means 2 things. First, that for the children, they will probably compete for very few jobs. So it's going to be a lot. Again, this promises unemployment, large unemployment on the youth, but also for the companies, they may not have the pipeline of talents they would like to have, they would need to have. So I strongly believe that yes, employers' engagement is absolutely important.
Yes.
Yes.
And we hear a lot about coding programs, things like that. But would you say there's probably a time lag? Is it fair to say there's a time lag that we've just caught on with this idea, but actually there's going to be a huge gap in terms of it's needed now, but actually children aren't up to speed yet?
Yes. Again, in Davos, there was a huge initiative launched by Sadia Zahidi, which was a reskilling gap, which I thought it was brilliant. I believe that indeed we need to consider the reskilling of the current employers and think of how we skill, how we educate the future ones. Because indeed our fourth industrial revolution is going to change. It's changing already.
And it's no longer about natural talent and falling into the area that you're naturally good at. It's about grooming younger people from an earlier age.
Yes.
And Talking about Switzerland specifically, are there any great concerns that you have? We hear of ageing populations, or, you know, perhaps a shortage of young people before you even get to the education stage.
Yes. I don't have an opinion on that, but where I do have an opinion, and a strong one, is on how women are represented on the local market. And when I came to Switzerland 15 years ago, it was a cultural shock to me, for me to see how many women were not working outside their homes. And it was the first time I met, actually, an adult woman not working. And I started to reflect on that. I got curious, what's happening? Why are not women working? And then I volunteered a lot for women associations, and then I worked in career services and with spouses, which were mostly female. I mentor students, and by chance they're all female. And so I got aware of the issues, and I think I know the market pretty well now. And this is what worries me mostly.
And what's your consensus of your 15 years having been in Switzerland? What have you really sort of understood the problem to be? Where is it coming from?
I believe the Swiss economy does not tap into an enormous resource, which are women, enough. I mean, of course, there are more women now that work than there were maybe 20, 30 years ago, but it's still largely underdeveloped.
And is that in terms of childcare available, or?
There are several reasons to that. Yeah, obviously, childcare, it's very scarce and it's very difficult to have. But also, a report that McKinsey launched last year, Women in the Workplace, showed very clearly that it's not just women don't drop out just because they want to take care of children, but also the trade-off. It's not worth for them, because if they do stay and then don't get promoted, they don't get as they should, as far as they should, they don't have opportunities that they deserve, then they don't feel that it's worth staying in. So
tell me a little bit more about your project. What do you hope to achieve in Switzerland, and by when?
I love this, by when. I know I started in December, and I would really want to have, the vision is to have women at the table of all important decisions. As Melinda Gates had said, we have not shaped the norms of the society we lived in, us women, but we can't miss the next one, and we're about to rewrite those norms.
And you've taken the initiative, you've got the passion, and you want to start sort of remedying this problem from a young age.
Yes.
So your plan is to go into schools from a young age and really try to change the mindset of the children.
From primary to secondary and university level, yes. The approach will be different, because on the younger gender, the primary, I'm going to focus on gender stereotypes, because that's what the report showed, that's the problem, and it's a global issue. But on the secondary and university, the approach is different because they're closer to employment. So I have built programs to help them, let's say, have a golden bridge to employment for not just for women, but I focus on them because they are missing on the market.
I'm just wondering that the classrooms, have they changed much? I'm just thinking about my children going to school and bringing home library books that are probably older books that probably have these stereotypes in them. Are they embracing technology enough, schools today?
Actually, I don't know this yet. I have children, and I see sometimes what they have. They actually, in my eldest daughter's school, they cut out the IT classes last year. So she still does sewing, but she doesn't do IT. So I don't know, but I'm very curious.
Sewing as well.
I was very surprised, I have to say. But I don't know yet, but I'm very eager to learn how does it happen, and I'm hoping for good news.
Well, that's great, and I'm really pleased to meet somebody that's really taking action to try and solve this longer term issue. Thank you very much for joining me, Andrea.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Amanda.